When a smug CEO tossed his broken luxury watch onto the desk, joking, "Fix this, and my car's yours," he thought he was being funny. But when the quiet black janitor fixed it in less than a minute, without even looking, the room went silent, and the CEO's life would never be the same again. It was a Monday morning in downtown Atlanta, and the 23rd floor of Garrison Tech buzzed with the sound of ambition. Employees rushed between glass-walled conference rooms, the air thick with the smell of overpriced coffee and the sound of high heels on marble. At the center of it all sat Jonathan Garrison, CEO, founder, and self-proclaimed genius of the fastest-growing tech company in the city. He loved attention almost as much as he loved his custom Italian suits. That morning, he was in rare form, striding into the main office with his $85,000 Patek Philippe watch dangling loosely in his fingers. "Look at this," he said loudly, calling over 2 vice presidents and a couple of junior managers. "Stopped working on me, brand new, probably worth more than your college tuition, and now it's a paperweight." They laughed dutifully, like they always did. Jonathan grinned, tossing the watch from hand to hand. "Tell you what, anyone who can fix this right now gets my car." He jerked a thumb toward the window where his $250,000 Maserati was parked. "I'm dead serious." The staff chuckled nervously, exchanging glances. Everyone knew Jonathan's challenges were part show, part humiliation ritual. He liked to remind people how far above them he was. That's when a deep, calm voice from the back of the room cut through the laughter. "I can fix it," said Michael Reed, the building's janitor. Heads turned. Michael, in his faded navy coveralls, stood holding a mop. He was in his late 50s, with silver streaks in his short-cropped hair and the kind of eyes that looked like they'd seen more than they let on. Jonathan raised an eyebrow. "You? This isn't a microwave, old-timer. It's a Patek Philippe. Costs more than you make in 2 years. Michael didn't flinch. "Doesn't matter. Bring it here." The room quieted. Jonathan smirked, clearly amused. "All right, why not? Entertainment for a Monday." He tossed the watch toward Michael, who caught it smoothly, like he'd been expecting it. The moment the metal touched his hand, something in Michael's expression shifted. A faint flicker of recognition. Without saying a word, he pulled a small multi-tool from his pocket. No one noticed that his hands moved with the precision of a surgeon. Within seconds, he'd popped open the watch's back, adjusted something so small no one could see, and snapped it shut again. He wound it twice. The second hand began to tick. The crowd gasped. Jonathan's smirk faltered. "What? How did you—" Michael placed the watch on the CEO's desk. "It wasn't broken," he said simply. "It was misaligned. Happens when it's been magnetized. Probably from your phone." Jonathan blinked. "Magnetized?" Michael nodded. "Next time, don't keep it in your jacket pocket next to your phone." He turned and walked away, mop in hand, as if nothing had happened. The room was dead silent. Jonathan glanced at his watch, ticking perfectly on his wrist. "Wait," he called after Michael. "What about my car?" Michael paused at the doorway. "You weren't serious," he said quietly, but his tone carried something more, something that made Jonathan uneasy. He left without another word. That night, Jonathan couldn't sleep. He kept seeing Michael's steady hands, the calm confidence in his voice. There was something about it that didn't fit the image of a janitor. At 2 a.m., curiosity got the better of him. He opened his laptop and searched Michael Reed Atlanta. At first, nothing. Then he found an old news article from 1998. Prodigy watchmaker wins International Design Award at 31. And there, in black and white, was a much younger Michael smiling beside a table of handcrafted timepieces. Jonathan scrolled further. Michael had once been the co-owner of Reed & Hollingsworth, a boutique luxury watch company in New York. Their designs had been worn by royalty and celebrities. Then, in 2002, the company vanished from headlines. Jonathan dug deeper. Bankruptcy, records, lawsuits, a fire in their Manhattan workshop. And then, a personal tragedy that made Jonathan sit back in his chair. Michael's wife and son had died in a car accident the same year. After that, he'd disappeared. Jonathan sat there, staring at the glow of the screen. The man mopping his office floors had once been a world-class watchmaker, and he'd lost everything. The next morning, Jonathan approached Michael in the break room. "I looked you up," he said bluntly. Michael didn't look up from pouring his coffee. "Why?" "Because I don't get it. You were somebody. Big time. What are you doing here?" Michael sipped his coffee. "Work is work. Bills don't pay themselves." "But you could be—" "I could be a lot of things," Michael interrupted softly. "But life's not about could. It's about is." Jonathan stared at him. "Why didn't you tell anyone?" Michael shrugged. "What good would it do? People see a janitor, they treat you like a janitor. People see a CEO, they treat you like a CEO. Neither tells you much about the person inside." Jonathan didn't know what to say. For the first time in years, he felt small. The following week, Garrison Tech faced a crisis. Their newest, smartwatch prototype, set to launch in 6 weeks, had a fatal flaw. The mechanism drained battery in hours instead of days. Engineers had been at it for days with no solution. Jonathan, pacing in frustration, spotted Michael wheeling a trash bin past the lab. "Hey, Michael, got a minute?" Michael raised an eyebrow but stepped inside. Jonathan explained the problem, showing him the tiny mechanism. Michael took the watch, turned it over in his hands, and in less than 30 seconds pointed to a single part. "Your rotor's misaligned," he said. "It's drawing power unevenly. Whoever designed this copied an older Swiss model but didn't account for the change in weight distribution." The engineers stared at him. Jonathan blinked. "Can you fix it?" Michael nodded slowly. "Yes, but it's not just this one. Your entire production run will fail. You'll need to redesign the component." One of the engineers scoffed. "We've been on this for days." Michael cut him off. "You've been looking at it like a programmer. Look at it like a watchmaker." Within an hour, using only the tools on hand, Michael had rigged a temporary fix. The battery lasted 3 days, exactly as promised. Jonathan was floored. "You just saved us from a $15 million disaster." Michael set the watch down. "You asked for help. I helped." Jonathan leaned forward. "No, Michael. I want you on the team, officially. Head of mechanical design. Triple your salary." Michael looked at him for a long moment. "I'm not sure I want to be back in that world," he said. "It cost me too much the first time." Jonathan's voice softened. "Maybe this time it gives you something back." 2 months later, the Garrison Tech smartwatch launched to record sales. Reviewers praised its precision, calling it a piece of art disguised as technology. Jonathan made sure every interview credited Michael Reed as the lead designer. Michael still wore his janitor's coveralls most days, even when he didn't have to. "Old habits," he'd joke. But in the company, people treated him differently now. Not because of his title, but because of what he'd done. One Friday evening, Jonathan walked into Michael's small workshop in the basement, holding a set of keys. "What's this?" Michael asked. "Your car," Jonathan said. "The Maserati. I was serious even if you weren't." Michael chuckled. "I can't take your car." "It's not about the car," Jonathan said quietly. "It's about respect. You showed me mine was broken long before my watch was." Michael studied him for a moment, then accepted the keys. "All right," he said. "But I'm not driving it to work. Wouldn't want to ruin my image." They both laughed. From that day forward, Jonathan never made another funny challenge at someone else's expense. And Michael? He didn't just fix watches anymore, he fixed a company's culture. Because sometimes the most valuable thing you can give someone isn't a car or a job or even money. It's the simple recognition that they were always more than you thought. Never judge someone by the uniform they wear, because skill, brilliance, and greatness have no dress code. If this story moved you, share it today and remind the world that respect should never be optional.